The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to the IPA Freesports Champions Cup 2018. It's week 9 and we are here in Chester, ready for a big night of action here at the pool. The scene is set and these are the two semi-finals we have on offer today. These 4 players all aiming for the one spot in the last 16. Gareth Hibbert, the seeded contender, coming into tonight, and he'll be first to the table as well. He will take on Scotland's Paul Harkness, and a good bit of a flavour as well all around the British Isles here with an English representative. Isle of Man, an island as well, just for good measure. There is Paul Harkness, the contender for Gareth Hibbert in this first game. I'm Jonathan Bell. Great to have you with us tonight. Alongside me is Kevin Barton. And Kev, you were saying coming into this first game in particular, Gareth Hibbert is the seeded contender and he's well in form as well.
Yeah, good evening everyone. Gareth, he is a class act and he is the 2016 world champion. So he's got real pedigree and you know, he's on paper he's the seed, so you know he would be expected to win this round tonight. But you know, he's in for a tough battle against Paul. He's a tough match player, and he's not going to be giving much away. And yeah, it should be an intriguing match.
This, of course, the race to 6, best of 11 frames, and the winner of this taking on the winner of David Adonal and Gary Clark later on.
Yeah, so Paul's won the lag, so he's going to have first go. And you know, both guys are going to be feeling the pressure. Playing on live television in front of a big audience, it doesn't happen every day of the week, so it'll be interesting to see how they cope with that additional pressure. See Gareth there just trying to relax himself in his chair, focus on the match. And he seems to have come back to some form recently, does Gareth? In the recent tour event in Aberdeen, there was certainly signs there that he was, you know, hitting the sort of form that he was playing in 2016, where he was almost unplayable. He was playing so well. So yeah, the signs are ominous for Paul, but he's certainly capable of winning this match.
So Paul Harkness to break then.
A good break from Paul. Potted a red, so for anyone who's new to black ball rules, that just keeps him at the table. That'll be the first legal ball that he pots. After the break will be the colour that he's on. And you can see there, he's played a really good shot there, potted the red into the corner, screwed back onto that red that was tied up a little bit, and brought it into open play, and now you know, this frame is at his mercy. So this is a great start for Paul.
Yeah, some of those reds in really good positions there for Paul Harkness. Nicknamed Diego, I'm sure there's a story in that somewhere.
There is, I don't know what it is.
Don't think he'd be willing to tell us either. It's an interesting one. A lot more on his mind right now, but just the sort of start than he would have wanted.
I thought he may have tried just to thread the white through there and avoid the yellows, but still okay, still in good position. He's just going to dragged this one in pretty slow. And he's punched it in across. Okay, played it well. And he's just nudged that yellow just slightly away from that corner bag, so that means that that red will now pass the yellow into that pocket. He probably would have only had half a bag before that shot, so that's worked out well. Bit of extra adrenaline on that one though. Can't underestimate the pressure that these guys are under early on, particularly early on in the match.
Yeah, the first frame, of course, so important just to settle down those nerves, but also pressure when you are the first to the table to try and make this sort of play count.
Well, he's left himself. I'm not sure if he can just about clip that back. It's a thin one though.
Never in doubt, was it?
He's played it well, and that's a great confidence boost for Paul. Breaking dish to get him underway. That's there's no better way to start a match than that.
Yeah, he cut that very nicely indeed, did Paul Harkness, and so he takes the first frame. Gareth Hibbert yet to leave his chair in the corner. And we were talking coming into this, Kev, about Gareth Hibbert's form, and evident there on the screen now with his most recent results.
Yeah, the last event in Scotland, in Aberdeen, semi-final of the professional event, just lost out to John McAllister, and then ran deep as well in the Welsh Open, again losing out to John McAllister, and but you know the signs are there that he's certainly coming back to some really good form.
Second frame, Gareth Hibbert to break, trailing 1 frame to 0. Time running.
First chance then for Gareth Hibbert to get his cue into action.
Unfortunately for him, he's gone dry. Usually such a strong part of his game, Gareth's his break, but had a good split, but just unfortunate nothing went down. Again, he's left an opportunity here for Paul to take out these reds. Nice natural path of taking these reds out. He'll be looking to take these 5 at the top end of the table first, and then just work his way down to these 2 either side of the black. So again, it's just about holding it together, keeping his composure under the pressure. But this is a great chance to take a 2-0 lead.
If there were any nerves for Paul Harkness coming into this, then this has been the perfect way in the first 5 minutes or so to settle them nerves down.
What he wants to do is wants to put this one in the top right corner and a little bit of bottom right hand side on the white ball. Just wants to leave himself straight in on this red into the left corner. Then will be perfect for the one into the right corner. So he's going to have to leave a fair bit of distance on the shot, but as long as it's straight, that's the main thing. He's overcooked that one. Puff of the cheeks there. Adrenaline's certainly pumping strong at the moment. And he's left himself awkward queuing for the one into the right corner.
Yeah, certainly hasn't. And the previous shot as well, he was struggling to try and just get the cue over the red ball that he was aiming to be set on ultimately. A bit of pondering required here, but he's also got the shot clock against him as well.
final few seconds. Oh, he's had quite a nice nudge there. Played the pot well, to be fair. I'm not sure what the angle he's got to pot this one into the middle is, but if he can, he wants to just try and screw the white off the red delicately onto the black. Not sure if he's got that angle. That's what he tried to play. I'm not sure if that back goes into that corner bag. You'll be able to see when he's getting straight down to play it, so I presume it does.
Well, he's done superbly well there, Paul Harkness, to get him out of what seemed to be a bit of trouble at one point. But not have liked to have the cue ball so close to the red on the previous shot, but he managed to get the angle on the black, convert that one, and he leads by 2 frames to 0.
Yeah, certainly not what the form book would have predicted, but so far, Paul's had 16 shots and 16 pots, so pretty good so far.
So, as we mentioned, we are on week 9 here, the first of back-to-back Monday nights in Chester, after 3 in a row in Solihull. You can see on the left as well the previous successors who will all go into the final round of 16. Kicked off, of course, by Mark Farnsworth and then Ronan McCarthy. We actually had our first 4 weeks of competitors all being the seeded player, and then things all of a sudden seem to turn around a wee bit, and you're now beginning to wonder if this is a completely open field that anyone could take advantage of.
Absolutely. And I've seen 1 or 2 shocks so far. I mean, arguably some of them are not shocks. You know, these are great players in their own right. But dry break there from Paul, and so this is Gareth's first real chance. First time he's got his hand on the table. That was just a little bit careless. I wanted to know that yellow a lot further off the rail than that. We'll look to double that back shortly.
Gareth Hibbert with the first chance to really exercise any sort of dominance now. You just wonder if sitting in the chair for the first 2 frames, a night like this, can get to you even when you are at the top of the sport. Like Gareth Hibbert is lurking around those sort of spots. Still looking pretty relaxed out there on the table.
He's developed that yellow. I'm not sure if it goes in the bottom left-hand corner. Looks tight.
Extension hold.
Just have half a bag to pot this in. Just had enough at that pace for the pocket to take the ball.
He was nicely done, but the question is, what's he left himself with now?
There's just a little bit too much angle there to drop it in dead weight. Played it about as well as he could. couldn't leave perfect position, so just took his medicine and made it the best it could be. But, that's an uncharacteristic mistake there.
One free shot, one visit. Time running.
If he'd have made the pot, then he wouldn't have gone enough. Oh, Paul Hartness, what are you going to be thinking now? Again, if you're new to Blackball rules, he's got a free visit with his first shot. I suspect he'll just nudge this one on the right-hand rail. He'll just nudge it closer to the pocket. And then he's just got one visit left after that. Possibly a bit too early to be talking of shocks, but we could be looking at one.
Well, we're talking about how it was the unseeded players in recent weeks that were beginning to come to the fore. In weeks 5 and 7 in Sheffield, and the first 2 trips to Solihull. The top seeds managed to get the last 16 spot. John McAllister last week managing to finally book the trend for the favourites, but Gareth Hibbert here, he's got an awful lot of work to do in order to claw himself back into the contest.
It's just about composure. Not thinking about the situation.
He's got these 3 reds now more or less in the same corner.
That's not the best. I think he might have to send this white round off 3 cushions. Come around the back of the black.
It seemed as if he had too many options going off there in that corner with the 3 reds around.
Yeah, he didn't really do one or the other. He could have just run it through for the red into the middle, the top centre as we look on screen. And screwed it back further. So yeah, just got caught betwixt and between there. He's only got 6 seconds left. Is this white to bounce? He's just about got there. Judged the angle well around the back of the black. Could have quite easily misjudged that under the time pressure that he was on. Stop. It's black for a 3-0 lead.
Well, it's not been a comfortable ride for Paul Harkness. He's had to dig himself out of a couple of tricky situations. One of them we just saw there in the 3rd frame, but he's managed to get it once again. And he has a 3-point buffer, which I don't think he would have been expecting coming into this game at all.
No, I think even his most ardent followers would have been, not expecting a 3-0 lead, but 3-0 it is. Really, Gareth is going to start to make an impression in this match. 4-0 down in a race to 6. That's going to be tough, even for a man of his extraordinary talent.
And if you are Gareth Hibbert right now in this situation, do you go a bit more aggressive, or do you stick to the game you're most familiar with? How do you negotiate this sort of position when you are 3 frames behind?
I think he's just got to, it's the old cliche, he's just got to take 1 frame at a time, If he starts to bring his A game, then he's going to be pretty formidable. Comeback starts now, but it's got to start now with this frame. Just keep doing what he does best, and that's breaking and dishing. And the opportunities. He's got a red. So he's done the first part. He's put it off the break. Now he's just got to try and capitalise. He's going to have to work hard. That yellow that's nearest the centre bag, that's looks very tight. Get right behind it. He should be okay, but any other angle and that's going to be tricky. Going to try and put this one into the bottom right corner, left of the two yellows. I'm thinking just try and send the white off the cushion onto the red. That's a class shot there.
Wonderfully dealt with that by Gareth Hibbert. I just slightly wondered if he was planning on ignoring that and hoping to forget it was there, but he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, now this frame is at his mercy.
This is exactly why, even though Paul Harkness has got that three-frame lead, he would not have got complacent at any point.
Played that perfectly. So now he's just going to soft screw this one into the centre bag. Just with a white and black into the bottom right corner.
And there we have it. The comeback is on from Gareth Hibbert. Manages to get his maiden frame of the night and reduce the gap to 3 frames to 1.
Yeah, and he certainly needed that. Stop the rot, and you know, he's now going to start to feel that he's in this match now. 3-1 down. It's really only one break of serve. And, as you'd expect, you know, Paul's potted the majority of the balls, having a 3-1 lead. But neither of them have missed a pot, just the one foul from Gareth. So really high standard stuff here.
And this will be a very crucial frame indeed. Of course they all are, but psychologically Paul Harkness can just get back into that 3-frame lead and give him the cushion he was enjoying a couple of minutes ago. If Gareth Hibbert can now reduce it to 1, we have a real game on our hands in the second half of this match.
Not his best break there. He has potted 2, but the balls didn't really travel that much, to be honest. They just it was hard work for them to bother to move in that break, in that break there from Paul. It was a messy one here. nothing obvious. Not really much attacking option. Try and pop this red into that's nearest the white, bottom right hand corner. That's probably about all he's got. See where the white lands, and maybe we can invent something after that. So it's a good long pot. It keeps him at the table. At least he's got options. Be interesting to see how he approaches this now. You know, probably at a tour event, he'd probably there'd be quite a bit of tactics involved. But what he's done there is just developed his two balls on the left-hand side. Tried to leave Gareth very little to go at. So that's quite an attacking safety shot there from Paul. It's a good shot.
Wondering if that centre yellow is accessible right now. So looks pretty fine.
So wow, this is a shot. Gareth's going up and down to try and plant his yellows to try and cover the bag. Thought he was going to miss it for a moment then and send the white straight to the corner bag. Is he going to cover the bag here? Yeah, looks like it. Oh, he's a little bit short on that one. Yellow near the right centre bag is almost an identical position where his yellow was in the last frame. He felt he had to develop. And he just slide it in. The double. What a shot there from Gareth Hibbert. Certainly worthy of a replay. That's just completely turned the frame on its head, that one shot.
Yeah, it was looking like a very unkind table there for Gareth Hibbert. Once again, the flick of the switch. He is the favourite.
It just shows that Paul's safety. He should have done a lot better than what he did there. It was not a difficult shot. I mean, it was 2 inches short, you know, and that's what's given Gareth the opportunity now in this frame.
Hibbert can drag it back to within a frame. They've really taken the wind out of Harkness's sails. He's looking well on course.
I think he's got the right angle. You just want to screw this white up towards the centre bag, maybe just touch past it. You can see there, he's not got a lot of angle, but timed it well. So that's an excellent shot. Made that look easy. You're just going to spin this white round off a couple of cushions. Go black into the same pocket. quick as a flash, it's 3-2 with Gareth to break.
Marvellous response then from Gareth Hibbert. He does still trail, but it's only by the 1 frame. Paul Harkness leading by 3 frames to 2.
Yeah, and the stats gradually getting closer, as you'd expect, as the frame score gets closer. But a high standard of play from both players. It's a great match, and well, it could go either way now.
Yeah, the pendulum is slowly beginning to swing back towards the Englishman. Of course, the question here is how can Paul Harkness respond? Can he maintain his advantage? We'll find out after this short break.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Frame number 6, Gareth Hibbert to break, trailing 3 frames to 2. Time running.
Welcome back to the second part of this game at the IPA Freesports Champions Cup 2018 here, week 9 in Chester. And very strong opening break there. And the 2 reds and the 1 yellow going.
He absolutely crunched those. I was in the arena when he broke, and it was like a minor earthquake tremor. Really gave that everything.
Prudent as well in the previous frame to get it back within 1. And this game is very nicely poised indeed now.
Extension, please.
Gareth Hibbert's gone with the yellows there, which are a lot more tightly knit than the reds.
Assuming that he can pop the left hand of the yellows into the corner bag. Mighty tight, but he must have judged that beforehand. Yeah. So this looks meat and drink to 2016 World Champion. Also, I've seen that he's slightly undercut that one. Might have to take the one into the middle. Can hold the white ball onto the yellow. Might just nudge it towards the middle. Yeah, just like that. He's made short work of the yellows, just the black to finish off. Strokes it in nicely.
If you're making a cup of tea during the break and you've just come back, then there you go, the first frame's just gone, because Gareth Hibbert has already tied it up at 3 frames apiece. And that's one heck of an onslaught from the Englishman, as we see at the last 64 part of the competition, in its relative infancy right now at week 9 of 21 in total. Still lots more action to come here on Freesports TV, but a fantastic advert for the sport so far.
Yeah, and we've seen some great players so far over the opening 8-9 weeks, and we've still got plenty more to come, including the world champion Ben Davis, the ladies world champion Michelle Rooney, who we'll see in 2 weeks' time. She'll be playing the world championship runner-up Simon Ward. And still plenty of great players to come over the next 7 weeks of qualification, and then we're down to the last 16 where things really start to hot up.
And of course we've got the possibility as well of the winner of tonight being set up with a last 16 round tie against Ben Davis, should he of course come through his round of matches.
Important break this for Paul. He needs to re-establish himself in the match. He needs that red to keep going. Didn't quite. It's a dry break, and I almost feel the momentum in this match has just completely shifted.
You must feel that there is a reflection of the last 5 or 10 minutes of this game, as far as Paul Harkness is concerned.
Try and thread this yellow through the gap. Didn't even touch the sides. Certainly found his feet now as Gareth. A bit stuttery at the start of the match, but no signs of that now.
It's interesting in the bottom left, we've got the 3 yellows there, which all seem to individually be guarded. And it'll be interesting to see how Gareth Hibbert plots his way through that. Very fine indeed in the near corner as well. You saw on the screen there, on that pocket.
Yeah, this yellow here. He needs to try and leave the white sort of in this area, so that he can put that yellow into the left corner and then just nudge that red away. Don't think that yellow goes by itself. It may well do. It's just hard to tell from this angle. See where Gareth's lining his cube. He can use the black as a guide. Just send the white down past the left-hand side of that black. Leave himself the perfect angle to play the shot I just said. He's got into that one too much. And now he's in no man's land, although he's still got a shot. He can try and clip this one along the rail into the bottom left as we're looking now, and use the black as a stopper. You can see there what he'd like to hit that black full in the face to leave himself the perfect angle to put the right hand of the 2 yellows and to budge that red out of the way and leave that yellow into the same pocket. But he's gone for the safety option. He thought that wasn't worth the risk. The problem with that shot is he's just tied up those 2 yellows. So a slight advantage here to Paul in this frame. A frame I feel he's got to win. I think if this frame gets away from him, it's such a cutthroat tournament that could be his match. But he's got to make this advantage count.
It's a very much needed lifeline for the Scotsman. We'll be hoping he's not left too much exposed there. Of course, with the 2 yellows that you mentioned, Kev, very close together in the bottom left. As we look at it now, it's not like Gareth Hibbert has got an almighty load of options.
No, can't see any. But he's going to try and thread this white round off 2 or 3 rails. It really wasn't. I don't think the gap was there for him to play the shot he was after. Nice glance to red. So that's a bit of a misjudgment there from Gareth. Paul Harkness, complete control now in this frame. So with his free visit, he's obviously going to pot this yellow over the bottom left corner. So it just depends what he wants to do with the white ball. Does he want to try and budge that other yellow out of the way of those two reds as well at the same time? That's what I'd be looking to do. Just try and glance off it half ball. He's got a decision to make now. Does he want to go for the frame in this visit, or does he want to try and bide his time a bit? He's just looking to bump this red up and down.
Well, that red hasn't totally eclipsed the yellow.
Not sure if he's got the double one. No. I think that this has to be Paul's signal to go for the frame. The yellow's in a relatively safe position. He's not really feeling ultra positive at the moment. He's just seen his 3-0 lead whittled away in not so many minutes. And he's still in control, but what he's doing is giving Gareth an opportunity to pull out a monster shot. I'm not sure if he's going to try and clip it direct or just come off the rail, but while some of your opponent is at the table, anything can happen. I thought he may have tried to clip that in and play the right shot, still be positive. He's just played a containing shot, but we shall see as this frame evolves whether he should have taken a more attacking option. The referee Viv Rusko just checking to see if it's a total snooker.
Total snooker.
Can't quite hear the call. It is a total. Gareth would have preferred to have hit this full in the face, not off the cushion. Tried to nudge it towards that corner bag, but unfortunately he's just knocked it safe. Just keeping it tight. I think if he gets a half chance in his next shot, he'll be going for these. Gareth will be playing this off 2 or 3 cushions. Looks close. Excellent shot. Well, that stops Paul going for the finish on his next minute. It's an excellent escape here.
Will there be something in Paul's mind, maybe slightly regretting not going all out for the juggler a bit earlier on in this frame, or is it still going the way he would have liked?
Well, he's still in control, and he's played a very good shot there. Very good shot. Had to judge the contact off the red perfectly, and has done. You know, he's just waiting for that opportunity to go for these, but Gareth is not giving him it easy, as you would expect. So he's going for the masse round. Looks good. Excellent shot. And again, I don't think Paul can go for the finish the way that where that white has been left. Paul grip on this superb Strachan 861 cloth. Again, it's safety option from Paul. There's a little gap between the left-hand side of the black. Just squeeze that white through with a bit of right-hand side. Not quite sure. And a clever shot there from Gareth, leaving the white down at that bottom end of the table. Keeping Paul waiting for his opportunity. This is high quality pull here.
Paul Hartness certainly been made to work for this frame.
Well, that's another really good safety shot there from Paul. Well, yeah, you can see what is lining up there. He can somehow get the white behind this yellow, and then send that yellow into the centre bag. Using the red possibly, not easy, but it's looking close. Oh, I tell you what, that was close. So this is the opportunity that Paul's been waiting for the last 4 or 5 shots. That was an excellent attempt. Say it often, it should be straightforward, but as we know, these conditions, nothing is straightforward.
I was going to say that Paul Hartness is on the home straight now, but it's not to say that a couple of hurdles may be shoved in his way.
For players watching at home, they'd be in the club, they'd have these down, in 30 seconds at most. But under the pressure of the lights and the cameras and the huge audience that are watching at home, or it's a different kettle of fish completely. He just wants to send this white up and down off the top rail, anywhere near the middle of the table. You can just plop this in, you can just dolly it in dead weight, or you can just play it a bit more positively with a little bit of bottom and just screw the white back a touch. So a soft screw, but just drop it in. Yeah, it's one of those, you just need to commit to whichever way you're going to play it. 4-3.
And there we have it. Advantage once again to Paul Harkness, who takes the 7th frame here and leads 4-3. This one far from over. But the Scotsman once again has his nose in front.
You can see there some of the matches that we've seen over the past 8 weeks. So the last 32 matches. So week 1 we saw #1 seed Mark Farnsworth. He went through 6-0, very impressive against Michael Oliver. Then week 2 we saw the #2 seed go through 6-0, Ronan McCarthy against Lee Ray. So those two set the stall out early on in the competition. But you know, we've had some great performances. Lee Warren, the qualifier, he was impressive, taking out Andy Blurton. We'll see him again later in the competition. So there's been some great matches.
A pretty cracking semi-final so far here as well, and Gareth Hibbert once again just rifling the cue ball through.
Certainly there's a point scoring contest on the break. It'll be won by a clear points victory. It's far superior to Paul's. He gets a lot more strength in it, more movement on the object balls. Great opportunity to lock things up at 4 frames all. Could mean we'll be down to a best of 3.
Yeah, I'm sure Paul Harkness, after that previous frame, would have been hoping that it would have triggered the sort of form he had at the start of the match, where his victories seemed to come in 3s. That would see him home in this, but Gareth Hibbert with other ideas. You did feel as well when Gareth Hibbert dragged it back to 3-3, and on that frame, the 3rd frame that he won, he did it so quickly. You just thought that he'd be able to see himself home from there on in. But he was rattled in the previous frame by Paul Harkness. And Hibbert once again having to respond, but doing it to a tee.
The momentum was all with Gareth. And that positional shot that didn't quite work out handed the momentum back to Paul. He had to bide his time, had to be patient to wait for his opportunity, but he did. And then took the clearance out. But Gareth's looking to strike straight back. Nice, superb cueing.
And once again, comfortable stuff from Gareth Hibbert, who refuses to lie down and be beaten in this one. And we are back all square once again. This time, at 4 frames all.
Yeah, Gareth showing his pedigree there. Massive frame in the context of the match. Could have gone 5-3 down. Paul would have been a big favourite, but he's tied it all up at 4 frames all, and this one's just too difficult to call.
Well, there's going to have to be a winner sooner rather than later. As we're now into the 9th frame. And a reminder, of course, that the winner of this will face the winner of David Adonal and Gary Clark coming up a bit later on tonight.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really good match as well. Both players in good form. I make Gary Clark a slight favourite in that one, but yeah, both rookie professionals this year, both sort of setting out on the early days of their professional career. So I think that's going to be a great match. Again, we see the difference in the breaks. Paul just can't generate the same power that Gareth can. And that's his third dry break out of 5. Certainly not a stat that he'd want to be leading on. Was down to 5 seconds there was Gareth, and then just remembered to call his extension. So reds are going to be his choice here, and that's basically because the 2 yellows at sort of bottom left hand quadrant of the table are a bit tied up. Whilst the reds are a little bit messy, he can develop them, and the red that's touching that yellow at the top end of the screen, it doesn't go in the middle. I think it'll certainly go into the bottom right hand corner as we look now. But he needs to put that red first. That's his first missed putt of the match. Well, technically he missed one in the second frame, I think, when he fouled and went in off.
We're going to get away with that one, I think.
Paul's he's got to keep attacking. He's got the problem now of these 2 yellows in the right hand. His bottom right hand quadrant of the table. He's going to work out how he's going to develop them. Well, he's played a safety shot, and I'm not sure he's covered the bag. Does that black go past that yellow? No, that looks... I think it does. It's sometimes can be a little bit deceiving.
Well, one feature of this game so far, as it ticks towards the hour mark, is that Paul Harkness, when he's been presented with opportunities, he has taken them. But Gareth Hibbert doesn't make too many errors. And could the door have just opened that for the Englishman to take control?
From that angle, it looks like that black could go past that yellow. Good luck. I think we'll get an idea in the next couple of shots as to whether that goes or not. If he doesn't go, he can sort of play to leave the white over this side, sort of use that yellow as a guide to take the black into that pocket that he's just putted that red in. You know, the rules allow you to play that attacking positional shot. You wouldn't worry about if he knocked that yellow onto the other yellow that was over the bag, as long as he potted his ball, of course. I think he's going to take the one over the top corner pocket. Make sure he misses the red as he screws the white across. He's not. He didn't get into that one. He didn't quite get his through cue. He sort of jabbed at it a little bit. If the black goes past the yellow, this is a superb shot if it does. Absolutely superb positional shot. A round of applause from the audience there. And in it goes.
And Gareth Hibbert leads for the first time in this game. Once again, wonderfully negotiating his way round the table. And it's such a crucial stage of this semi-final as we now move on to the possibly penultimate frame. It is 5-4 to Gareth Hibbert. And Paul Harkness has a lot of thinking to do right now. And a lot of decisions to make very quickly indeed.
And that's Gareth's second reverse dish from Paul's dry break. So Paul has been well and truly punished for his poor breaking. Good crowd in tonight here in Chester. Well supported. Great buzz in the arena when I was out earlier. Taking some photos for social media, and yeah, there's a real buzz out there. It's great to be here.
If you are watching around the local area, you're not here tonight, make sure you're down next week, as we are back for week 10 here at Riley's in Chester.
You can visibly see the difference in the breaking, and you know, there's 10 balls at the top end of the table. This is a great opportunity now for Gareth to take frame and match and to secure his place in tonight's final.
Well, if Gareth Hibbert does get to that final, he certainly won't have coasted his way to it, but he's certainly done what is required of him. And if anything, Paul Harkness has managed to squeeze out that world-class quality we've come to expect from Gareth Hibbert.
Yeah, Paul's played well. I mean, he's hardly put a foot wrong, to be honest. It's just his breaking has just let him down a little bit. And you know, if this does prove to be the last frame of the match, Gareth will know that he's been in a battle. Looking good now, looking good. He can take either ball here, depending how he feels. He could take the one into the middle, spin it round off a couple of cushions. Probably put that in there, spin the white round, but no, he's taking the one into the right. And held it perfectly.
Well, a sensational last couple of shots and frames as well there from Gareth Hibbert, who was made to sweat on occasion. Had to come from 3 frames to 0 down to win that one, but eventually coming out on top against Paul Harkness by 6 frames to 4. And good performance from Paul Harkness, but Gareth Hibbert in the end with just too much.
Yeah, it was a good match, very good match, and you know, Paul put up a good fight. And you know, really the difference between the two was the breaks. And you know, Paul's 3 dry breaks and Gareth's 2 reverse dishes from it was probably the difference in the match. But you know, apart from that, it was pretty close on every stat really. So good match. Gareth has known he's been in a battle, and we'll be seeing him again in tonight's final.
You know, of course, a spot in the last 16 at stake, but who will he face, David Adonal or Gary Clark? We will find out in the not too distant future. But for now, we'll head to a break and we'll be speaking to Gareth Hibbert in a few moments' time.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to the IPA Champions Cup here with Freesports TV. First game of the evening has completed and Gareth Hibbert has managed to defeat Paul Harkness by 6 frames to 4. I'm delighted to say we're joined by Gareth now. Congratulations, Gareth. Great start to the night, great game. How tough was it being 3-0 down and managing to get back and win the contest?
It was really tough, yeah. I didn't get to the table the first 2 frames, then had a chance in the third one, made a bit of a mess of it, and Paul was playing really well at the time, so you think he's halfway to where he needs to be here and needs to start getting a couple on the board, so yeah, it's nice to get that 4th one and feel relaxed a little bit then.
Was that the sort of tough contest you were expecting tonight?
A little bit, yeah, but Paul's quite a dogged player and he's not known as a disher, and he's dished the first 2 off his own break and my break, so suddenly I'm 2-0 down, I've only had 1 break, so I don't think he's obviously capable of doing that, but he's not an out and out, that's not his game really, so I thought it'd be a bit more scrappy off his breaks and stuff, but every game par 1 was pretty open, I think, so my break was working well, so I was getting good chances off my break.
And of course you're into the final now with an opportunity to go into the last 16 of this competition. What are your chances? How confident are you going into that final?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. If I keep breaking like that, I think the last 3 or 4 breaks, they were all coming out nice, and I was putting a couple of times I got lucky, the last one just dropped in and left me quite easy finishes, so if you keep getting those chances, you've got a good chance against anyone. So
I'm sure you'll have an eager eye on that semi-final. Any preferences when it comes to the final?
Not at all really, it should be a good game. I've played Gary 2 or 3 times, I know I played David, so I'll just sit and watch it and have a drink and see what happens and play again later.
Thank you very much once again, congratulations, thank you.
Okay, welcome back, and well played, Gareth Hibbert. We'll see him shortly in tonight's final, but coming up now, the second semi-final between David Adonal from the Isle of Man against Gary Clark from Ireland. So both these guys had a bit of travelling today, so should be a cracking match. And both players, rookie professionals, first year in the pro ranks, so looking to make their mark in the game. So a lot to play for these two. And as I said earlier, I think Gary is just a slight favourite, and you know, he's had some good performances recently on the IPA tour. So yeah, slight favourite, but in a race to 6, it's anyone's game. So, but I think we're in for a great game.
And of course, with a lot of the week's competition we've had so far, it has been a very regionalised affair. And it's great, isn't it, Kev, to have so many players from so many different parts of the nation here taking part tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great that these guys are prepared to travel to support the event, and this is their chance, their moment, and here we go.
Well, Gary Clark inadvertently starting by not only getting the yellow, but he's put the cue ball in as well.
Not the start that Gary wanted, but probably the start that David was hoping for. So I think he's just going to look to maybe red onto red, just try and bump that yellow out, and then proceed to take the yellows. So as I said, both these players, you know, new in the pro ranks, and but certainly both very, very capable players, and it's going to be interesting, an interesting match. All important first frame to get settled. We saw what happened in the last match. Paul Harkness won the first frame, and that became 3. Fortunately for him, he couldn't quite hold on to it, but you just heard Gareth say in the interview there, you know, he won that frame at 3-0, 3-1, and then he felt in the match, and then we saw the real Gareth Hibbert come to the table. So so important, that first frame.
Yeah, it's a risky position to be 3-0 behind and then to start playing, but of course Gareth Hibbert does possess that quality, where he does have that get-out-of-jail card, if you like, up his sleeve.
Yeah, as he said, his break, he turned the on switch, and it gave him the chances, and that coupled with Paul's dry break was probably the story of the match. But apart from that, there was nothing in it. Well, this looks like a confident start for David. I think he can just glide this one into the bottom corner. Into there, just bring the white into this sort of area. That's well played. I think he can, maybe on the angle he's got. Could try and just screw back onto the red that's nearest the black. Needs to be quite precise. I think he's got a nice angle to play that. He could hold it. He's played it absolutely perfectly. And that's a really confident start there from David.
Yeah, nice and easy does it, as far as the Isle of Man player is concerned. Bit of an early error, of course, from Gary Clark from the cue. You can see with David Adonal some of his recent results there.
Yeah, when you're so last year he was amateur player last year, so you can see his amateur results there, and probably didn't do himself justice, but had some good performances, generated enough points to turn professional, and good solid last 16 performance in the Open event in Aberdeen, losing to eventual winner John McAllister, so no disgrace there at all. So you can sort of see the signs there. He's beginning to develop, and we certainly saw from that first frame that he's not shy of a dish or two. Good break as well. He's gone dry, but sometimes you just can't. Got lots of movement on the balls. Balls flying everywhere, but unfortunately nothing dropping, making that nice plopping noise.
I wondered if the cue ball was going to stop spinning by the time the next shot was going to come around, but Gary Clark managing to convert and start to find his feet in this semi-final now. It was interesting to hear from Gareth Hibbert as well, and say that he's never played David Adonal before, and you wonder if that could maybe throw a bit of a curveball into the affair if Adonal didn't, of course, make that final. And Gareth Hibbert unaware of what skills and expertise David may possess.
Gary's got the angle to put this one into the top left-hand corner. I think he can just screw down and nudge the yellow that's just to the left of that red that's surrounded by those two yellows. I think he's just got the angle, he can play that. That would then free it up to be put into the centre pocket. Yeah, played it well. Lucky, although the black goes in the middle, so that's an excellent shot there from Gary. Nice angle here. Can probably just run the white through. If he's short on the positional shot, that is a little bit careless. Maybe able to just play with a little bit of swerve. Yeah, he can just bend that round that yellow. Yeah, he's played that well. He can just hold. He's got a little tricky clip. There's no gimme this one.
Well, an excellent shot from Gary Clark there to level things up at 1 apiece, and the black may have been central, but it was in a pretty precarious position with the yellow either side of it. The Irishman finding that gap and slotting it home wonderfully well to level things up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, just looking at Gary's recent tournaments, and you know, the top 3 names on the right hand side, the players that have beaten him. You know, Gareth Hibbert, Jordan Shepherd, Neil Rayborn. You know, these are top draw players, elite players, and you know, no disgrace in losing to them. You know, he's obviously competitive. He's lost 8-4 a couple of times, 7-6 to Gareth. So you know, he's there or thereabouts, and a dangerous player, and certainly one that the top players would prefer to avoid.
Well, promising to be a special contest if Gary Clark, of course, does make the final against Gareth Hibbert, judging by that recent result. Going all the way to the final frame.
So 1 frame all and 2 reverse dishes. There's the white going. Oh, he was a little bit lucky there, but anyway. Watch this white ball. It looks for all the money that it's going to drop in that corner bag.
Well, Clark managing to avoid an unwanted stat there of potting the cue twice from the break in a row.
Yeah, ideally you'd want yellows. He may be forced to. He's going to take the yellow into the middle. Oh, that's a good shot. Not much reward though for his efforts. Well, I think he tried to pot that yellow off the cushion, off the yellow, but into the middle. But completely misjudged it, and now he's killed 2 reds, 2 yellows at the top right end of the table. So early advantage to David, but not a huge advantage by any stretch. Yeah, just concentrated on developing his red and making sure that Gary couldn't pot this or develop this yellow below the black. It's a good shot. Just taking control of the top end of the table. leaving Gary much to go at.
Yeah, David Adonal's reds that hogging the top two pockets.
Well, there's quite an attacking option here for David if he wants to go for it. Could maybe take that red off of that yellow and then send the white into this area to try and disturb the black. But no, he's just trying to consolidate his advantage. So I think there was nothing to lose by playing that aggressive shot. He had a big area to send the white into to try and develop the black. I don't think he would have been any worse off, but chose to try and keep that advantage that he's got. Well, he could. That's not the best shot from Gary there. He's just developed David's two reds and made his own yellow tricky. So it's just how David's feeling, really. You know, he could play the aggressive shot. I said before, could play it slightly differently this time, but so just both players just fighting for the advantage. Red's probably slight advantage at this point of the frame. And the fact that yellow at the top left doesn't really have any obvious opportunities. But as we know in black ball, it can soon turn around. I think Gary will want to pot that one over the middle. I think he'll probably just roll up to this one, to the bottom right corner. It does give David an attacking option. He could look to play this one in the middle, into the middle off that yellow. Even if he doesn't pot it, he might just move the yellow away from the bag. Well, he's given Gary an opportunity here. There is a double on. Not easy, but I almost feel he's almost forced into playing it. He's going to look to try and come the yellow behind the black. was a little bit off with that one. No, David does have a clear advantage now in this frame. Got a couple to develop. Keeping it tight still. But has he left that possible plant? Is there enough angle there to get the white in? No, probably not. Gary just asking the referee if it's a total. I don't think he can get enough. So this is the opportunity that David's been waiting for. Sure, he's got to go for the clearance now, because any safety, you know, Gary's got two balls over the hole, so only one option now. That's not worked out too good. He's got, could possibly play the double. Just reading onto that one. It's not easy. I think he's left that. He's left that. And I don't think that was the right shot, to be honest. I think he's just got a little bit too defensive in his shot selection there. I think you know, sometimes you've got to grab the bull by the horns, let the arms go a little bit, play your natural game. I think he's just got caught up in the situation a little bit, and just handed the table over to Gary. Really, it was a little bit. I think he'll reflect back on that one and think that's maybe wasn't quite the right shot.
Yeah, he was struggling to see a way back for Gary Clark, but he's been presented with an avenue to success here by David Adonal, and he's taken it. And he leads now by 2 frames to 1, 2 in a row for the Irishman. So, of course, here in Chester tonight, for the first of 2 straight weeks, just outside the border of North Wales, but here's an indicator of where we've been so far and where we are still to go. And, well, the answer really is right all around the country.
Yes, there's still some mileage to go. We're back here in Chester next week, and we head to Cardiff. And we've still got London, Scotland and Sheffield to visit as well before we head to the last 16 stages. So the table you see in front of you has got some few thousand more miles to go before we find our winner. Let's hope it survives.
So Gary Clark leading 2 frames to 1 here, and David Adonal with the error there.
Yeah, David, and he tried to give that everything. He launched himself at it, but watch this white ball. Well, that was quick, but it went straight into the pocket. Quick to see that one. Hopefully we'll see it in real time now. Yep, just the white straight in the middle. Not what any player wants to see. If you get kicked in, you know, not much you can do about that, but just to skew the white ball straight into the centre bag just shows that you've not hit them very well at all. It's advantage Clark.
Good chance as well for Gary Clark to get a bit of a rhythm here, because of course the previous frame was very stop-start.
He's got a couple of options here. I think he's probably going to play the top one of these 2 yellows that are together. We spin the white round up a couple of cushions. And he's put the white in an area where he's got options again. He could take this one in the top right as we're looking and work his way back down, but now he's going to get rid of these 2 at the bottom end of the table. Work his way back down for the black, probably into this bottom left-hand corner bag. So you can just create an angle there. What I'd like to do is to pop this one into the top left and get straight in behind this last yellow into the centre bag. He's a little bit short of pace there. Gonna have to send the white ball. Wow, that's a great shot.
Really smart shot that from Gary Clark, and that was a very effective frame indeed, and he's opened up 2 frame buffer now, leading 3-1. Of course he lost the first, but it's 3 on the trot for the Irishman now, as he bids, as all the players here tonight bid, to be part of the last 16. And we can see already some of those that have already made it, and some very strong contenders. Who'd you say, Kev, out of them that we've got to be looking out for in the future weeks?
Well, all 8, to be honest. I mean, obviously, you know, the big names, the Mark Farnsworth, the Ronan McCarthy's, the John McAllisters, the Craig Marsh, Jack Whelan. I mean, you know, what a lineup we're heading towards here in the last 16. And, you know, as we've said earlier, we've still got some great players still to enter the tournament. The Simon Wards, the Ben Davises. We've got the Mark Boyles and Liam Dunsters from Scotland. Neil Raybone, another great player, who've all still to have their moment in the last 64 and last 32 matches. So it's going to be an absolutely superb last 16 lineup, and certainly one not to be missed. That's going to spin into the corner bag. That's a bad break from Gary there. His second in off. Again, just didn't quite time the break, and that spin on the white ball there shows he didn't quite catch the balls as he wanted. And there was only one place that white ball was heading. So he's just tried to develop the black there with that shot. So he's got a little bit of work to do. So he's probably going to pop this yellow into this corner bag and then just bring the white here. Just try and bump that. Well, I thought he was going to try and bump that yellow out. Maybe it goes in the middle bag. If it goes, then he doesn't need to move it, but it goes. Probably take the one into the right corner now, just to probably bring the white around of 2 rails for the yellow just to the left of it into the same pocket. He's up to slot. It's all action now. If you can't get this this left hand most yellow he's got, which he can't. Camera shot there, he's got this yellow straight into the top corner bag, so he did have options. So he's in a good position now. Put this one into the centre, probably just screw the white back, maybe 3 inches. It's all about leaving the right angle on his last yellow for the black. Not got a lot of options for the black. See, it goes in the middle, so but he'd probably prefer to leave it into this bottom right hand corner. I don't think he's got the angle there, so yeah, I think he's just going to run it through for the black into the left middle. He's played that well. Absolutely. Looks to be dead straight into the middle bag, just as he would have wanted. And there it goes.
And the perfect response from David Adonal from going 3-1 behind, and he's narrowed the gap just to the 1 frame now. Still 3-2 to Ireland's Gary Clark. But David Adonal showing he is certainly not out of this contest.
Next week we see the entrance of one of the top IPA professionals, Neil Rayborn. He's going to be up against qualifier from South Africa, although qualifier was in his local club near Manchester, JJ Fall. And then we've got Drew Hughes from Wales against Rabfi from Ireland, and that should be another cracking lineup again next week. 4 great players.
Of course, a double dose of action then here in Chester in the next couple of weeks. And the first half of it tonight has not been bad at all, has it? Of course, we've already got Gareth Hibbert into the final. Who he will face is yet to be decided, but it's very nicely poised indeed. Join us for the remainder of David Adonal against Gary Clark after this break.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to Chester for the IPA Freesports Champions Cup 2018, week 9. And we are on to the second semi-final. Both David Adonal and Gary Clark bidding to face Gareth Hibbert in tonight's final for a spot in the last 16. And at the moment, Gary Clark is the man in front, leading by 3 frames to 2. His 3 frames coming in between David Adonal's 2 frames. He won the first and he's won the latest. Can he win the next one to level it up back at 3 apiece? We'll have to wait and find out. You can see there the unwanted stat for Gary Clark, 2 reverse dishes to David Adonal's 1. There have been a few untimely errors from both of these players, but a very even contest indeed as we get ready for the second half of this semi-final. David Adonal of the Isle of Man to break. Could be a very important one, this, and a big indicator of which way the pendulum will swing next. But that's a strong break indeed, that, from David Adonal. Just see there in the top middle pocket, managing to squeeze the red home off the ricochet. He's going to go for the yellow here with the couple of open options. Of course, as I mentioned, this is the 9th week of action here at the IPA Champions Cup. There are 21 weeks in total, but the way the format works, the last 5 weeks will be from the last 16 onwards, so it's quite a prolonged start and a very quick ending to this competition. And there are a lot of top athletes really right in form at this current point. David Adonal trying to pit his wits against the best. Gain an element of control on this affair. And so far, he's done exactly what he needed, trying to get back-to-back frames for the first time in this match.
Seems to got his flow back again, what we saw early on in this match. Knocking the balls in with a lot of confidence. A lot of support for David back in the Isle of Man. No, they'll all be glued to this, cheering him on. But he didn't quite hit that one. It's a bit of a tentative one, that one, I'm afraid. So Gary with an opportunity here. Just got the tricky red on the left-hand rail. But he can maybe get position on it now. Can play this one into the bottom left and drop right behind it. Would have liked to have White to have stopped maybe an inch earlier. That would have left him the perfect angle. All he can do now is just drop this in down the rail, and he's going to leave himself a long, tricky one. I think he'll take the lower of the three. No, he's going for the middle one. Oh, he's even going for the top one. Could have had three guesses. I would have got there in the end. But stroked it in really nicely. Trying to avoid kissing onto the red, but I think it's... I'm not sure if the knuckle of the centre bag is going to stop the white getting to the bottom end of the table. So that shows how confident he's feeling. He's leaving himself the back double. Just had the wrong angle on that red to get the white to the bottom end of the table. So he's just accepted the best he could get, and he'll be giving this 100%. Big frame. Possibly a 4-2 lead if he can nail it. And there it goes. That's a great shot there from Gary Clark.
Absolutely textbook that, wasn't it, from Gary Clark. Almost got himself into a little bit of a muddle, but always under control.
Just if it had been a few millimetres a bit more to the left as we looked on the overhead, it would probably run round the lip. But played it well, played it confidently. And the double has become, an integral part of clearances now. I've said it before, maybe 5, 7, 10 years ago, no one would try and leave a double, leave it at your peril sort of thing. There's some very good players of doubles about, but in general it wasn't really part of your routine. You try and move it, develop it, but now it's just become, as I said, an integral part of any clearance, and these players are really skillful at taking them out now.
Fine margins also in pool, really apparent there in that previous frame. David Adonal seems to have it in his grasp. Just slipped through his fingers ultimately. And Gary Clark, clinical when pouncing on the opportunity.
Well, he's been flirting with that corner bag on a couple of occasions, and he thought he'd got away with it this time, but a bit unlucky. The red came and just knocked it back in. So unlucky, really.
Ended up smacking two reds in the end, didn't it, there? And Gary Clark not looking best pleased with that.
So he's got, both options are available. I think the reds are probably the ones he'll go for. Maybe just nudge this red that's just to the right of that top centre bag. No. Okay, that's an interesting shot. Clever shot. Tried to just develop all of the balls in that one shot, and has done. So now he's got a choice. I think he's going to go for yellows. He might even be able to develop the black after this shot. Looks to be pretty good position. Just needs to judge this one well. I think he's going to pop the one into the left corner. I think he might have to just kiss onto the yellow that's nearest the bottom cushion. Yeah, just didn't quite give it enough. Just needed that yellow to bounce off the cushion an inch or so. All he's got now, he's going for the clip, left-handed. Just the mistakes, just creeping in a little bit now from David. He's certainly under pressure now. Gary's not giving him much. Really important that David can somehow win this frame. Doesn't want to go 5-2 down. (4-3). Still anybody's match. At the moment, it's Gary who's in the driving seat. He's played that as a bit of a shot to nothing. And left Gary, left David not much to go at. Could actually be a total snooker, that. The only option is the up and down to hit this yellow that's nearest the centre of the table. Because it was a total snooker, it didn't need to hit a cushion after contact. See, Gary was just trying to nudge into that red and yellow just to try and develop the red. Didn't quite work. They just cover this bag now. So what that means is he can, if he gets another opportunity to develop them, having the one over the bag means that he's almost guaranteed to be on a pot afterwards. So it gives him that extra insurance.
I do wonder how much this will be playing on David Adonal's mind, that he really has to get this back to 4-3. Perhaps the psychological implications of going 3 frames behind at this part of the match. Gary Clark there just assessing whether he can squeeze the red later on through the 2 yellows towards the bottom right. And from that shot, as though that angle would not be favourable. An uncharacteristic error as it goes inside of the jaws.
Both players feeling the tension. They realise what this match means.
It was interesting talking to Gareth Hibbert just before the interview during the break, and he was saying that he's played in front of cameras before, but never live on television, and just play that bit of a difference that you may not recognise just watching these players right now, but in their minds, it's certainly a prominent part of this.
So Gary's got options now. He's obviously got the red to develop. He could potentially take the one over the corner bag at the top right as we look. Bring the white down in between this red and black. Sort of on this line and try and develop, but he's looking to see if he can squeeze that red. That's a risky shot.
Well, he was looking at that before the previous shot, and it looked as though it was unlikely, but he's still pushing for that possibility.
He fancies it.
He's pretty ambitious.
That's not easy.
Well, this would be one for the cameras.
But he's played it well, he's made it look easy. Made it off the yellow, and the other yellow just helped it towards the pocket. Well thought out shot. He's missed that one. He missed that one by a distance, I'm afraid. All his good work has just been undone. He's just handed the advantage back to David now. Cued that well. Knew he couldn't be short. To leave this black as easy as possible. Got a nice angle. It's just about judging the pace. Is he going to screw it off the cushion or just straight up? He's got into it a little bit too much. Still fancy this. Uses all of the bag, but it's there, and he closes the gap down to 1.
Well, it was a big moment, that, wasn't it, for David Adonal? The pressure was on his shoulders, and it didn't overwhelm him. Big miss, though, from Gary Clark just beforehand. After a wonderful pot of the red through the 2 yellows, he then went to miss the next shot. That opened the door for David Adonal, and he entered with ease to take the frame. Bring it back to 4-3. And this game very much nip and tuck right now. Clark may be in front, but it's certainly not a foregone conclusion.
David's going to be pleased about winning that one. He said early in that frame he needs to somehow find a way to win it, which he did. Back on serve, his break. A chance to try and tie things up at 4 apiece. It's a great break. 3 balls. He's playing all those 3, he's still got work to do. He's not got much option, he's going for reds. And he's got that obvious difficult one. Bottom right as we look. He's going to want to try and move it after this shot. And he's missed it. Really threaten it, to be honest, but he's played a great shot there into top right corner as we're looking, and can he put that red into the same bag? If he can, it's a great shot. He may be able to play with a bit of right hand side to try and flick the red in, but it looks mighty tight. I think he was trying to play that into the middle. Didn't have much else to go on. Just gone a little bit awkward for Gary. He's just going to glance off the yellow that's nearest. Just took the white behind, I think. Probably snooker. Oh, no, he's going. He's gone for the pot but missed it. Well, both these players feeling the pressure a little bit now. If David can see that red, and that's a really careless error from Gary. I thought he may have just glanced off the right hand side of that yellow to leave him guaranteed snooker. As you can see, he's left him in the pot. It's a difficult one, but it's a chance. And that's a really good shot. He's going to leave himself a tricky black after he's potted this red. This is not easy. He's not wasting any time. Looks good. Oh, that is a great shot. Great shot, David Adonal.
Done to perfection, and with that, the scores are now dragged tied to 4 apiece. The first time that these two have been level since the second frame. Gary Clark been leading for much of this affair. A bit of an error on the attempted snooker. And David Adonal has punished him. He's on with the smile on his face, and Gary Clark once again will have to negotiate a way to go in front and try and seal this semi-final. There have been a couple of errors from Gary Clark on the break so far in this game. Looks like he's gone dry there as well.
That was a good break, but unfortunately he didn't put one. Well, the momentum stays with David. It was looking like he was going 5-2 down at one point, but now he's lowered it up to 4-all, so this is now a best of 3. And just a nice little nudge on the yellow there has made those 2 yellows a plant. So the yellow that's tied up nearest the red. So this one here, that goes into this corner bag. So he's got nothing to move. He's just got to work out his pattern. We'll just need to give some thought to the yellow on the left-hand side of the table about making sure he gets good position on that one. Preferred to be another 2 inches left of where it is now. Then he could have run the white through off the top rail and then take that yellow into the same pocket. He hasn't got that angle, so he'll have to screw back now. Things start to get a little bit tricky. But that's come out really well. Looking to put the one into the top right as we're looking, screw the white back somewhere where it is now. And he's got options on how he can finish the frame off. Just needs to make sure of this pot first and make sure he screws that white back past that red that's in between him and the yellow. Just checking the time, calling for his extension. Big moments in this match. So just needs to bring the white down about 8 inches. See where he was lining it up. If he'd have been a bit straighter on this yellow, he probably would have screwed back. But that looks absolutely perfect. So this match has swung completely round again. This to put David one frame away from the final.
And he now leads for the first time since the opening frame. And David Adonal, well, one thing you've got to say is that when it's come to the moments where composure has been required, he has provided it in abundance. And he's got 3 frames in a row now. And he's looking in fine fettle indeed. 5-4 up. And if he wins the next one, he is in that final against Gareth Hibbert, who himself had to pull through a tricky affair with Paul Harkness earlier on this evening. But Hibbert, the seeded contender tonight, winning by 6 frames to 4. David Adonal will be hoping to replicate that scoreline now. Big frame ahead. Gary Clark trying to save the affair.
Yes, it certainly has turned round, and it's going to be David with the break. He's just going to be hoping that he is a ball hit the back of a pocket. As long as it's not the white, of course. But as usually happens, just when you don't want it to be, it's dry. So this is Gary's attempt now to keep himself in the match. You can see from the overhead that red that's glued to this bottom cushion as we're looking does go past the red that's over the pocket. So if he can get position on it, probably from this one into the middle now. And he's going to leave it. He did have a really good angle on that red into the middle where he could have just played position on it. I sometimes wonder if players get a little bit in the mindset, oh, I've got to take all the ones at the top end of the table and then, you know, come back down. Whilst he had perfect position on it, he could have potentially played that shot. But we'll see as the break develops. Whether that will come back to haunt him. Decided to play it off the yellow because he didn't quite have the angle that he could run through. This is now not easy. He's played it well. See his opponent sportingly just tapping his leg there in appreciation of a great shot. Played this with lots of right hand side. So, but he's got to judge this even better. He's got to obviously just put the ball into the corner bag and then just bring this white up into this area. It's all about the pace. Going to be under some time pressure soon as well. In fact, he had to move it. The red didn't go. This is great character from Gary Clark. He's missed the pot though.
Well, not for the first time in this game. Gary Clark with a big shot. And has just not managed to make it count. Will he get another chance to go up to the table?
Just when you thought he'd done all the hard work. But even though he's missed that pot, he's actually still in a really good position in this frame. He's probably still favourite. He's not left David anything easy. A lot of pressure on this shot. Well, I presume he can just swerve around that yellow to pot the red. Just can't quite tell the angle. No. Well, I think it's one he'd expect to get. But is that his last shot in the 2018 Champions Cup?
Well, he had to go all out, didn't he? It would have been spectacular if he pulled it off, but just a few errors from him at crucial times, and credit to David Adonal, who so far has pounced on every one of them. If he does so on this occasion, then it will be his. As he goes for the scope shot there, just to dispossess Gary Clark's red in the corner. It should be an open table, you'd imagine.
Yeah, when Gary went for the swerve, he just hit it too hard. He just didn't give the white chance to bend round. Just didn't quite time it as well as he would have liked. As you say, this gives a glorious opportunity for David to take his place in the final against a certain Mr. Hibbert. But nothing's a given at this stage. The pressure's immense. It's all about holding it together, staying in the moment, not letting your mind get too far ahead. Still got 5 yellows and a black to go. At a time. We're going to play the one on the side rail next. A bit of awkward queuing. It's betwixt and between. Can't really play the one that's on the right hand side of the 3 yellows. It's a good pot, but he's still got hard work to do.
So close yet so far, isn't it, for David Adonal?
That's right. What he wouldn't give for that white to be another couple of inches off the cushion. He's got the angle, he can run the white through, but it's such a difficult shot. How easy can he leave this last yellow? How much does he want to risk? He's tried to play it off the cushion. It was a match-winning shot. Unfortunately, it just didn't quite come off. And Gary Clark nails the long black. We're going to a deciding frame.
Well, I spoke of how a couple of mistakes earlier on from Gary Clark had let in David Adonal. But it's the complete role reversal that the concluding shot for Adonal in the frame. And indeed, we are going to go all the way. See how going into that final frame, David Adonal could have replicated that of Gareth Hibbert, but Gary Clark winning that, making it 5-all now. Of course, both of these battling to compete against Gareth Hibbert for a spot in the last 16. And we're about 7 weeks or so away from the last 16 rounds of the competition, so there will be a bit of time for whoever gets through today to rest up and get ready for such a big stage of the competition.
Well, it's almost a feeling of deja vu with that break and Gary Clark. There's something about that corner bag that's had it in for him tonight.
Well, the last error of that kind for Gary Clark took an unfortunate couple of ricochets before it went into the pocket. None on this occasion. Straight in. David Adonal once again sees the pendulum come his way. And he's kicking himself that he'd not won this by now.
Great chance.
Survival of the fittest here.
Great chance for David. He would have liked to have run that white another couple of inches through for this red along the rail, but Peely's got to play it now. He's on it. It's not a gimme, but he's on it. And now the match and the frame and match are at his mercy. He said that last frame as well. But he's got a chance to redeem himself straight away. So BPMs will have just gone up a few notches. Just got to hold himself together. Nothing Gary Clark can do about it. He can only just sit and watch and hope. And things about this sport, when your opponent's at the table, absolutely nothing you can do about it.
David Adonal has held the upper hand, of course, for the last couple of frames. Advantage seemed to be with him. It's interesting, since we had the intermission after the fifth frame, it's been the exact opposite in terms of results ever since. Adonal winning the first and fifth frames with Clark 3 in the middle. And ever since, Clark has won the 6th and the 10th frames with Adonal winning 3 in the middle there as well. A complete flip, as both halves of this game have been replicated, and that's what sent us to this decider.
So I think it all boils down to this next positional shot. I think he's got to screw this back for the last red into the top centre as we look on the overhead. And that's pretty good. Pretty good. Is he good enough? We're about to find out. back of the queue. Probably the biggest shot in David Adonal's career. And he's nailed it.
Well, certainly a marathon rather than a sprint, but David Adonal has come out on top in it. Real to and fro affair. And it sees David Adonal of the Isle of Man go into the final. That's how he did it. So close all the way through.
And the most important start is that second reverse dish. And but I think Gary will rue his break. 3 in-offs from 6 breaks is just not a start he's going to be pleased with. So from his perspective, he's going to be disappointed with that side of his game. Played well, looked in control, 4-2 up and in control in that 7th frame, but somehow David managed to win that frame, turn the match round, and I guess it was always heading for a decider. And unfortunately Gary's break straight enough with the white ball, and David held himself together really well to take out the finish. So we'll see him very shortly in the final against Gareth Hibbert. Should be a great match.
We certainly will, and we'll be catching up as well with David Adonal into that final after this break.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to the IPA Freesports Champions Cup 2018 here in Chester, where we've had the second of our semi-finals. David Adonal is successful and will be in the final against Gareth Hibbert a bit later on. Congratulations, David. A tight game. How relieved are you to come through that one?
Very relieved, really. I thought early on a few things wasn't quite going for me, and then so I was at 4-2 down. But I just had to stick in there, really. And you know, Gary was unlucky. He had a 3 in-offs straight in the corner bag. That kept giving me chances, so I was a bit lucky. But it was a very good match. So.
Particularly a close shave on the 7th for you as well, going close to 5-2 down. Were you still confident that you could have turned it around at that stage?
Yeah. I felt just needed to change of look, and I felt like I was queuing well. So it was just a matter of just getting the chances. Because when I was, strangely enough, I missed a chance to go 2-1 up and end up 2-1 down. But I just suddenly felt comfortable, a lot more comfortable. So I just went on from there, really. So I just kept on trying.
And Gareth Hibbert next in the final. I believe the first time you two have met each other as well. So how do you fancy your chances there?
Just looking forward to it, really. You know, me and my mate Alan Coventry that come with me. He actually used to play in the same team as Gareth many years ago, like 27 years ago. And me and Alan were talking about Gareth about 17 years ago. So the first night on TV, get to play Gareth. It's just can't write it.
And how much would it mean as well to get into the last 16 of this competition? Should of course you beat Gareth?
That'll be brilliant. Yeah, you know, I just hopefully carry on playing like I have, and I'm feeling good. So I just hope I get enough chances and that I can carry on from there. Like, you know, but it's just a matter of chances in this game. Bit of a lottery.
Thank you. Good luck in the final, and congratulations once again for getting there.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Well played, David Adonal. He will take his spot in the final against the seed for the evening, Gareth Hibbert, and definitely goes in as the underdog, but he's going to be on such a high after winning that match that anything is possible in this final. We saw Hibbert in full stroke at the end of the second part of the match with Paul Harkness. So he goes in quite rightly as the favourite, but this could be a close one, and it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out and develops. So the final will be underway in the next few seconds, and players will just be ready to lag that all-important break-off. Though it didn't serve Gary Clark much use in the final frame there. He had the break and went in off and sat down and watched the rest of the frame.
And of course no rest for the wicked as well with David Adonal. Same with me as well, hot-footing it there from the interview, and he's going to be straight in that game right now, and maybe that could work in his advantage. He's got the game frame of mind from the previous semi-final to go straight into the final with.
Yep, it can work. It can work many ways. You know, he's achieved that great high of getting to the final. Keeping at that high is going to be really difficult, you know, and it's going to be a real test for him against the 2016 world champ. Class act, and but you know, anything can happen. I made Gary Clark a slight favourite in that last match. That's why I don't bet. But David showed he was cool under pressure when it mattered in that last frame, and so we'll see what happens now in the final. Guys shake hands, getting ready to lag off. Looks like yellow. Yep, David won the lag just. think it's really important that he gets a good start in this match. I think if Gareth gets 2-3-0 up, he could just run away with it. But I think if David can get into the match early, send Gareth a message, and try and stay with him, then he's got a really good chance. But he's I think the start is so critical for him.
And let's not forget as well that Gareth Hibbert in his semi-final was 3-0 down, and maybe Paul Harkness was thinking that the game plan was paying off, but Gareth Hibbert managed to come back and get the last 3 frames ultimately to win that semi-final 6-4.
I think Gareth will be aware that David's a different prospect to Paul Harkness. Paul is, he's not renowned as a break and disher. He's renowned as a more of a tactical type player. But I think Gareth will already be aware that that David will be a different proposition. Good break from David, but nothing in. Lots of movement on the reds and yellows, but unfortunately didn't put one this time. The last 16 spot at stake for the winner of tonight's match, tonight's final. The opportunity to play on live television again and to get through to the business end of the competition.
You mentioned the business end of the competition there as well, Kev. Of course, the final 5 weeks, we managed to whittle our way down from the last 16 to the final itself after a very long 16 weeks of getting down the 64 to the final 16. The end comes very quickly indeed.
It does, yes. And the last 16, we've said it before, there's going to be some absolutely cracking matches, and we'll see all the qualifiers who've made it through doing battle, and the winners of each of the four nights will make it through to the last night, where we'll see the 2 semi-finals and the final, and our winner crowned. And it's going to be you can pick a winner through the field, then you're a better judge than I am. It's it's great for the game, great for spectators that they get to see all these big players going head to head. They're one of the most prestigious competitions that's out there.
Of course, the winner of this one will wait their fate to find out who they play in the last 16. It's possible they'll face either Rob Donkin, Toby Bolt, Andy Lucas, and of course Ben Davis as well. And those 4 will be on Freesport TV on the 30th of April. So still 3 weeks until we see them take to the table.
Yeah, that's another great lineup. I mean, pick a winner out of that lot. So a little bit of work to do on this positional shot. Just have to get the pen out for this one, because I think he's going to have to try and send this white round off 3 cushions. No, he doesn't. Couldn't quite tell the angle. He obviously he could hold that more than I thought he could. Has he got the legs? Just.
Well, just what the doctor ordered then for Gareth Hibbert on the first frame. Taking that one with great ease. course, Gareth Hibbert. Recent times, it's some of the best in the game. His performance is probably suggesting more than the results are.
Yeah, certainly this year he seems to have become a lot more consistent this year. I think after he won the Worlds, to be fair, he didn't quite. 2017 certainly wasn't his year. Nor was 2016 when he won the Worlds. But I think he's now beginning to firmly establish himself as one of those, elite players, and we're seeing that in front of us now. But, he's certainly getting back to that kind of form, which is great to see. Such an attacking player, such a great player to watch when he's in full flow.
The dry break this time from Hibbert.
So David will be looking to capitalise on that dry break, just as Gareth capitalised on David's. You almost feel these are really, even though it's early in the match, that these are really important moments of this match. He's got to take advantage of these opportunities when they come around. Took that confidently. He could have come down for these two at the bottom end of the table. He could have taken these two first and then gone back up to the top end of the table. But preferred that option. Not ideal. I'd probably prefer to play the one along the bottom rail, but it's the harder pot. So maybe forced into it. Just enough to drop. It's all about the speed. Give the pocket every chance to gobble it up. He's in great shape to finish the frame off and tie things up at one frame all. Certainly striking the ball very confidently, which is good to see.
And this will certainly settle any nerves that are around as well. David Adonal. Looking very confident, isn't he, around the table at the moment?
Yep. This black ties things up at one frame all with a reverse dish apiece. Great standard here at the start of this final. And I think we alluded to earlier in David's semi-final match, just starting to develop his professional career, and last 16 of the Scottish Open, the recent Scottish Open in Aberdeen. No disgrace in losing to the eventual winner, John McAllister, 7-2, who was really impressive that weekend. And so yeah, that's a good performance from David, and something for him to build on for the rest of the season.
And occasions like tonight as well will be great for his experience on the circuit. And the first time, of course, that he's faced Gareth Hibbert, and he actually alluded to in the interview just before the game that he may have never played Gareth Hibbert before, but his best mate has. Only 3 decades ago.
And that's the first time we've had a ball potted from the break, out of 3 breaks. Not quite sure if that yellow and red are a plant. I don't think they are. If it was, he would have played that first. He may be able to kiss onto it from this shot. Played it perfectly. Gareth can only sit and watch. Pressure on Gareth as well. He's the favourite. He is expected to go through. So different type of pressure. The red that's just above the black. He could play the plant onto the one that's over the rail. I suspect that's what he's gearing up towards the end of this clearance. What David will want to do when he plays the plant, he'll want to make sure he's as straight in behind that red as possible to make that as easy as he can. So it's all about the positional shot from this red into the right centre. Just try and send the white along that angle there. So he can't play the plant now. I'm not quite sure he cued that one and got through it, to be honest. But he's played that well, judged it well. So he's just got this delicate little long shot into the top right corner. It looks good. Buys in the black, and David Adonal, he means business.
Well, I think he gave our camera a bit of a wobble before he geared up for that last red, but it certainly did the trick for him. Gobbling up the last few balls of that frame, and he takes the lead.
So that's the top half of the last 64. Mark Farnsworth and Christian Phillips already booked their places in the last 16. But if we scroll through some of the names there, some superb players. And this is the penultimate round of the bottom section. But still some great players left in our one of our London qualifiers. Rob Donkin, Toby Ball, Andy Lucas, Ben Davis. What a great lineup that is. That should be a great week as well. So Gareth is looking to get the break going again. It was a little bit slow in his first round, but in his semi-final match. But not quite got it going just yet. It's his second dry break out of 2. And yet another chance for David Adonal. Just can't quite tell if, so the 3 yellows on the left-hand side of bottom left-hand corner, if the top one, not sure if that goes into the bottom left-hand corner. If it does, it certainly makes his work easier. I think that's a bit tight, I'm not sure that goes. Could try and kiss onto it this shot. And he's played that perfectly. So far, you've got to say, David Adonal, very impressive.
And he's definitely used that semi-final success over Gary Clark as a token of momentum for the final as well. Gareth Hibbert was watching that semi-final with keen interest after he disposed of Paul Harkness. So he definitely knows what he's up against.
Well, if he didn't before, he does now. That was not one of his best. I think he's got away with it. I think that yellow nearest the white, I think that goes in the bottom left corner as we're looking. And played a good recovery positional shot there.
And talking to David Adonal as well after that semi-final win against Gary Clark, he was saying that despite the fact he was 3-1 down, almost went 5-2 down on one occasion in the 7th frame, he still felt as though he was playing well enough, and then he was able to come out on top. He really trusted his form, and it was quite evident whenever he was on the table, presented with the opportunity, more often than not he would take it. And so far, it's been the exact same for him in the final as well.
Great opportunity here to take a 3-1 lead. Just play this with a little bit of bottom, maybe a little bit of left-hand side. He's just going to stun this in the bottom left corner, leave the white there, and then the roll of black into the right middle. Easy from here, but he's going to have blood pumping through his veins. Got to keep his emotions in check. And this is to do his 3rd dish out of 3 visits. Right into the pocket. This is impressive stuff from David Adonal. Gareth Hibbert doesn't know what's hit him.
Absolutely not. David Adonal taking this game by storm. And he's not showing too much emotion on his face. He's keeping himself in check, but he must be buzzing in his mind right now after that start.
So he's had 2 reverse dishes off Gareth's dry break and a breaking dish from his own. That's impressive, impressive quality there from David Adonal. But he'll want to ram home that advantage. It's his break next, and he doesn't want to break dry and hand the advantage back to Gareth. So he'll be really desperate to put one from the break and try and take a 4-1 lead.
the game in David Adonal's hands at the moment. Doesn't want to let it slip, and that's a good break as well.
He's absolutely walloped them, and he's going to get another chance. Yellow, red, one of each. I think he'll go for reds. Take the one into the middle first. And those two reds that are nearest that yellow, I think the bottom one of the two goes in the left corner. And he could screw onto the yellow and disturb it, but what do I know? He's gone for yellows. I was surprised at that. I thought reds were the better option there, but just the yellow that's nearest this bottom cushion as we look, where he's going to take that one. Another confident pot there.
Yeah, that was a really strong pot. And good positioning as well with the cue ball. And it did seem as though that initially the red balls were the more favourable option. With the form he's in tonight, you would not question David Adonal's decision making.
It's all about the yellow, just on the right hand side of the table towards the centre pocket. It's all about getting position on that one. If you can master that, that will be the key to unlocking this fifth frame. I mean, he could play position, or he could try and kiss onto it. So he's going to put this one into there. He could just try and get the white into this area. But he's played the kiss on it, and it's pretty good. He's got a nice angle. He can take it into either bag. Taking it into the top corner. Absolutely nailed it. Well, if he puts this yellow and black, this is as good a performance we've seen so far as anyone in the competition. Very impressive.
Looks so composed, David Adonal. Well,
Absolutely no messing.
Gareth Hibbert has been pretty much a bystander, and he may be beginning to admire the performance right now of David Adonal, who has been supreme in the opening 5 frames. Didn't win the first, but since then it's all gone his own way, and he's looking like the favourite to take this final. He won't be wanting to get ahead of himself right now, but he may be joining some of those winners we've already had here at the IPA Freesports Champions Cup in the opening 8 weeks of competition.
Yeah, we've said it before, some big names already through. Mark Farnsworth, Christian Phillips, Rona McCarthy, John McAllister, qualifier Lee Warren turning the tables, and Andy Blurton up in Solihull. Jason Rimington upsetting the phone book as well, beating Jordan Shepherd. And then 2017 world champion Craig Marsh just quietly going through to the last 16 as well. where he'll play 2015 champion Jack Whelan.
And then goes the black, along with the red.
Again, anyone who's new to black ball rules, if the black goes in off the break, the balls get re-racked, and Gareth gets to go again. This is a huge break, really, for Gareth, because if he goes dry again and hands the table over to David, who's 4-1 up, he could have a shock on the cards. Just a reminder, Gareth is dry on 2 out of 2 for his breaks. Big moment in this match. He's potted 2 reds and a yellow. Certainly didn't hold back on that one.
Well, that's made up, hasn't it, for the previous 2 dry breaks?
And Gareth knows he was 3-0 down to Paul Harkness. But he knows he's in a battle now, 4-1 down. Can he pull off another great recovery? Really wants yellows. Can he put that yellow past the red in the corner? Yes, he can. It's a great pot. Try and put the yellow and just dislodge that red that's just above that right hand yellow. Just open it up into the same pocket. Where's the white ball going? Oh, that's an uncharacteristic mistake there from Gareth. It's very unlucky to land there. Very unlucky. What's David Adonal going to be thinking now?
Of course, Gareth Hibbert had a lack of table time in the last 4 frames. Could say that was a rusty shot, but he was unfortunate the way it kissed back off the red, and well, it opens up the frame.
It does, and he's got this one over the bottom right hand corner as we're looking. It's one of those little edgy ones. He's just got to control the pace of the white ball. It's on the bottom cushion, so it's no gimme. It's the beauty of these cloths, you can trust it. The nap's not going to pull it in, or there's no finger marks. If you hit it online, that's where it will go. Wants that to slow down. Not sure he's on any red. Just landed in the middle of nowhere. Is he going for the clip? He's gone for the back double. Where's the black going? And he's not the blacking. A lifeline for Gareth Hibbert. So David Adonal's first foul of the match hands the 6th frame to Gareth Hibbert and gives him a lifeline in the match. It was potentially looking at 5-1. It's 4-2. It's still all to play for.
Well, it's incredible how it can swing so quickly. And you wouldn't say that David Adonal had that frame in his grasp, but certainly it was there to be won. And he's passed up the opportunity with a big error. Will it be a fatal one? And we'll find out in a few moments' time. Join us after this break. You don't want to miss it.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to the IPA Freesports Champions Cup 2018, and we are on to the final of tonight's competition. Gareth Hibbert against David Adonal, and it is the latter leading by 4 frames to 2 as we go into the start of this 7th frame. And a bit of a bad moment in the previous frame for David Adonal, potting the black, and he's had 5 minutes now in that intermission to dwell on that instead of going straight into another frame, and you wonder if that will have a negative bearing on him.
Just quickly see the break, and great break, 2 balls in. Proceeded to go for the reds. You can either screw this back or run it through. Screwed it back, but I think he'd like to come back another 6 inches there. He's now made this last red a little more tricky than it should have been. I'll take this easy one into the middle, and he's going to put it in the right hand side of the pocket just to give him that angle, and it's actually worked out perfect. What a great opportunity here now for David Adonal to be 1 frame away from a place in the last 16.
And what a great response as well from the previous frame. It looked as if he may have opened a possible door for Gareth Hibbert, but that has been slammed back straight in his face. David Adonal has gone into a 5-2 lead, and he is 1 frame away from, as you say, Kevin, going into the last 16. And who would have expected that going into today?
Well, he certainly wouldn't have been the favourite on paper, but as we've seen over the last few weeks, that the underdogs are fighting back against the seeds, and he's fully deserved it. I mean, 3 breaking dishes, 2 reverse dishes. I mean, this is the form that people have when they're winning competitions. So he's making people take notice, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with if he can get through to the last 16 and win one of the next 6 frames.
We saw some of the names that on the list of who'd gone through to the last 16 already. There's still another 7 weeks or so until we get to the last 16 here on Freesport, as there are still so many competitors vying for those positions. But this has been a superb advert for the sport and the competition tonight.
It certainly has, and even more so if you're a David Adonal fan. But Gareth Hibbert won't be giving up without a fight, that's for certain. He's managed to get the first part of staying in the competition, and that's to pot a ball from the break. He won't be wanting to entertain those yellows too much, I don't think. So I think he'll be looking to take this red into the centre, the bottom centre, as we look on the overhead shot. Using his extension, he's to be 100% certain now he can't afford any mistakes, otherwise that could be it. What they say, cometh the hour, cometh the man, and if anyone can get right back into this match, it's Gareth Hibbert.
You do feel, Kevin, as well, where he's gone wrong so far has been on the breaks, because whenever he's actually at the table following a break, he's cleared up Gareth Hibbert in a couple of frames that he's managed to win. But he's just not been given those opportunities, either by himself or a very resolute David Adonal, who has been very strong on the break.
That's right, and neither player's missed a pot in the match, such has been the standard. And that's a really nice, delicate little screw shot there, just to develop those two reds that were together. To completely open the frame up now and keep him in the match. He's had a little bit of a kick there. The white just pretty much stopped dead. It's just called for a timeout there to get the white cleaned. Still doesn't affect the pot. Still be able to pot the red. But, just buying himself a few seconds there while the referee Viv Rusko cleans the white ball. See there, he's got half a bag there. He can knock this in. Hit this in thin, and the white just to come up behind the black. No gimme, but one he'd expect to get. And he does, slots it in. He's not out of it yet. 5-3. So he'll be feeling better after his break and dish to keep himself in the match.
Real pressure for him, that for Gareth Hibbert. He's managed to claw himself through it. That's when the experience can come in handy, but he's still 2 frames behind. David Adonal, though, wants to get this job done as soon as possible.
He just needs one chance. Will he get it? That's the great thing about black ball. You just, you know, you can be sitting pretty 5-2 up. You may only get another 2 shots and you may lose the match. Such can be the momentum shifts. I feel this break is absolutely massive for David Adonal. He breaks, dries or fouls, the next time he hits the white it could be 5-all. But he's got 2 balls from the break.
Well, how's your nerve? Look at that. Super stuff.
3 from the break.
And the man from the Isle of Man is in the sort of position he would have wanted to be, because so far in this game, when it comes to this position, he mops up.
You see the intensity in his face. He knows this is his moment.
As for the extension as well, really plotting this one. Knows how crucial it is.
Could be all about this first pot.
Well, that was tantalising, wasn't it?
He's done the hard part. He's potted the ball. He's potted the yellows. All the yellows go. Pretty certain this yellow on the bottom left-hand side goes past the red into the bottom corner. This is all about composure. It's tight, but it goes. He could play it now. trying to wait for a better opportunity. Can feel the tension in the commentary box. Out in the arena, it's absolutely intense. Oh, that was a little edgy one. This isn't easy now. He's going to play the yellow that's in the middle of the table to the left-hand corner. He's used his extension. So this is the biggest shot of the match. He's absolutely nailed the pot, but he's not got position. He's got a double to win the match. It's not an easy one. And he got the double kiss, which prevented the yellow going into the left centre bag. It looked pretty close. He just couldn't avoid the double kiss. His first missed pot of the match, just when he didn't need it. Where's the white going? Gareth almost handed it on a plate.
When you look at Gareth Hibbert, he really is calmness personified, isn't he? But even he must have had the heart going close to his mouth there.
Yeah, just for a second, he must have been fearing the worst.
You'd think this was the final frame with the atmosphere of this place. It is so tense.
It certainly is. One thing's for certain, Gareth Hibbert won't be taking a backward step. He's going all out for this clearance. And that's a lovely positional shot. Playing it back a little bit into a blind pocket, so just needs to be careful. Absolutely nailed it perfectly. Crowd applauding. And it's 5-4.
And Hibbert to break next. Is this one going all the way? As Gareth Hibbert seemingly coming from the abyss to claw his way back into this. And he is up in the air once again. Advantage, very slim advantage still for David Adonal. But it's going to be hard for him to hold on. He's looking relaxed.
Yeah, he's smiling in his chair. I'm not sure I'd be smiling after wasting an opportunity. But will he get another opportunity? That's the thing. Was that his best? I wasn't thinking about the shot he played when he played a great pot into the bottom corner, but he could have used the red just to screw on and to hold the white ball and then to play the yellow into the bottom corner. So it was an interesting shot selection. However, that's done. Hibbert to break. He's given it plenty. He's looking dry, but he's potted a yellow. All of a sudden, it's all turning round. I think this has got 5-all written all over it, hasn't it?
A late night in Chester ahead. But it's so gripping, this final. I don't think any of the punters here will be complaining.
They've been treated to some great pull tonight.
These two have had to show this sort of resilience in order to get to this final. And of course, Gareth Hibbert's semi-final going to 10 frames. David Adonal's going all the way to the 11. But they do have that stamina and the strength mentally to claw themselves through. But only one of them can get into the last 16. Gareth Hibbert pursuing here for a deciding frame.
At the moment, it's just impossible to call who's going to take the place in the last 16. It's real edge of your seat stuff. It's not quite worked out as he wanted. I'm not sure that that red nearest the black. Does it go in the middle? It might go off the middle, off the yellow. That's what he's looking at now. Pretty much any sort of contact on the yellow and he'll pot the red, but if he misses the contact he won't make the pot and he'll leave David at the table. Played it well. Again, still not perfect. Just watch a replay of that excellent shot there from Gareth Hibbert. Oh, he's forced into taking the difficult one. It's awkward cueing. That might change his shot selection. He's only got 10 seconds left. He's used his extension. Well, this is pressure. And that's caused him to miss the pot. As he played his last shot in the Champions Cup, that was all about the time pressure. And look at the yellows for David Adonal. What an incredible match this has been.
Well, they say you earn your luck. David Adonal will have been counting his lucky stars. This is such a good opportunity he's been presented with, and that he may have not been expecting. Gareth Hibbert, I do remember in the semi-final against Paul Harkness, there were a couple of occasions where he let the clock run down, but it didn't really faze him when it came to the shot. Did on that occasion, and what a pivotal point in the game that could be.
Yes, he'd used his extension. He only had 4 or 5 seconds left, and that definitely caused him to miss the pot. So what order does he want to take these in? He can go a couple of ways. He could play the one into the top right as we're looking now. He's going this way. He's played that on lots of left-hand side. It's all about this shot and the positional shot. This is not easy under this amount of pressure. We saw in the semi-final he held himself together on the deciding frame. And the white's just got past that red. That black goes into the bottom right corner. It's all about this pot. You just need to screw the white down about a foot, 8 inches. Somewhere there, and that it looks like absolutely perfect. And David Adonal has this black for a great victory. Great victory there for David Adonal.
Well, what an excellent final. A really high standard of pool here in Chester. And ultimately, it's David Adonal who knocks out the seed, Gareth Hibbert, to take that one by 6 frames to 4.
Yeah, looking at the stats, it's all about those middle ones. The break condition, reverse dish, 5-2 in David Adonal's favour, and that for me was where the match was won. And great performance from David Adonal, and a great match. I mean, look at the missed pots, 2 missed pots in 10 frames. Great standard, and we look forward to seeing David later on in the competition.
Yeah, he will be back in the last 16 in a few weeks' time, and also be back after this break as well, where we will talk to our winner tonight, David Adonal.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing. The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.
Welcome back to Chester for the IPA Champions Cup 2018, where we have our winner for the night. David Adonal has beaten Gareth Hibbert 6-4 for his place in the last 16. I'm joined by David now. Congratulations, David. How does that feel?
It feels absolutely brilliant, yeah. You know, I just tried to carry on my form from the first match, and it just felt pretty good. So I just had to try and keep that going and just go for it, really.
And in a game of so little errors as well, how much pressure did you feel on each of those shots?
Yeah, there's always pressure. There's pressure every match, but I mean, you know, you just near the end when I was 5-2 up, I was just hoping for a chance, really. You know, with this game sometimes you might not get another chance, so just really hoping for another chance. Had one, messed it up, and then thankfully I got lucky to get another one. But Gareth had a bit of bad luck, unfortunately, through the match for him. So.
And into the last 16, first and foremost, we're expecting that, and second of all, how much are you looking forward now to being back competing once again?
I just take one match at a time, really, but I'm really pleased and happy and delighted for everyone back in the Isle of Man, and love doing it for the Isle of Man as well as myself. And if the round of the day of the round of the next round day is, if I've got the date right, apologies to my girlfriend Rachel Sutherland, because I'm actually cutting our holiday a day short. So sorry.
I'm sure she won't mind. Congratulations, David.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's commitment for you there from David Adonal. I'm sure his girlfriend will understand. So the story of the evening. So first up, we saw Gareth Hibbert come through 6-4 against Paul Harkness in a great game. Paul went into an early 3-0 lead, but then the quality of Gareth came through, and he was pretty much unstoppable at the end of that match. Then we saw David Adonal come through a final frame thriller against Gary Clark. In the deciding frame, Gary Clark broke, went in off, and David Adonal kept his composure and got over the winning line 6-5. And then, as we've just seen in the final, absolutely stunning performance from David to beat the 2016 World Champion Gareth Hibbert 6-4. Fully deserved, and a great performance that included 5 dishes out of the 6. So not much you can do, really. Gareth, he just has to tip his hat, say well played, and look forward to the next competition.
And of course with David Adonal as well, you know, there were a couple of rough patches in there just before the break. Halfway through the match, he potted the black, and you wondered if that was the route for Gareth Hibbert to come back into the game. He then managed to get the 8th frame and the 9th as well, but David Adonal still was resolute enough in the 10th to come out on top, just as we thought it may go to a decider.
Yes, it looked like it had decider written all over it, but he proved us wrong and held his nerve there to complete a memorable victory. And the action continues next week, week 10. We're back here in Chester, and the seed is Neil Raybone, one of the top players in the world, and he'll be taking on JJ Fall, the qualifier. And then next up, the second semi-final will be Drew Hughes from Wales against Rab Fee from Northern Ireland, which should be another cracking match from 2 really talented players. So next week, more of the same.
Absolutely. The punters here in Chester have been treated to a fantastic amount of pool action tonight, and we hope for much of the same next week as well. The bar has been very highly set indeed. David Adonal then is our winner for the night here at the IPA Freesports Champions Cup 2018. He has defeated Gareth Hibbert, and he goes into the last 16. A big thank you for joining us tonight in Chester. Don't forget to join us same time next week here at the exact same venue for week 10 of the action. Another big round of competition to come. But until then, good night.
The IPA Freesports Champions Cup pool is brought to you by Select Car Leasing.